If you go to the top right, you can look at gallery view, click that, and you'll get that view.
Gallery view. Yeah. Like that.
Okay.
I just
It's like that.
okay.
Mr. Dane, can you hear us? Ron, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Dane, I did not hear you.
It's delayed.
Yeah, but I couldn't hear him. I still couldn't hear Dane.
Yeah, I'm not hearing him either.
This guy here.
Dane, you might be on mute.
He's on mute.
He's on mute. It's like,
That's on his side, right?
yeah.
Sounds like Mickey Mouse. I can hear something, but it sounds like Mickey Mouse. Yeah.
You on mute?
Did you unmute Dane? Pete, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. 5-5.
Yeah, I hear Pete loud and clear.
Yeah. I still can't hear Dane, but I've got Ron. Anthony, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Miss Virginia?
Yep, I can hear you.
I have the microphone off.
Mr. Walker, can you hear us?
Mr. Waltz?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I'm with everyone other than Dane. Dane, we're with a thumbs up or a thumbs down? We ready to start? Mr. Ted? All right. This is going to be a first for everyone, so we're going to try to get this going. But Mr. Bruce, if you could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Be happy to.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, this is the Planning and Zoning Board. It's an advisory board which makes recommendations to the county commissioners who will make the final decision on all items. Items on today's P&Z agenda will be heard by the board on May 7th at 5 p.m. The LP items will be heard on the board by the board on April 7th. Each applicant will be given 15 minutes to present their request, and each person speaking in opposition or who has questions or concern will have 5 minutes to speak. When a motion ends in any kind of split vote, a roll call vote may be taken to ensure accuracy. As a reminder, each member who makes a motion or a second needs to make sure their microphone is on, that your voice is on record. Now, I guess, should we do a roll call to provide a cue?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Dane, I see you're there. Pete, you're still on, correct?
Yes, sir.
Anthony?
Here.
Well, you know what? I'll just call him out. Brian Waltz,
Yes, sir.
Ron,
Yes, I'm here.
Harry Criswell, Brian Hodges, Kevin McKay, Ben Glover. No, Ricky's not here. Joe Buchanan,
Here.
Hugh Moyer,
Here.
and Pete, I already got you. So that gives us with six. Seven.
Got to include yourself.
There you go. All right. We have seven. All right. We're going to need a motion to approve last meeting's agenda.
The minutes, I
Minutes.
move to approve.
I'll second that. Pete?
We got a motion by Bruce, a second by Pete. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion passed unanimously. Okay, item one, sir.
All right, thank you. So the first two items have been tabled to the May 4th, 2020 P&Z meeting. And that letter is in the packet. Staff has also received a letter from the applicant for item number 3, also tabling that item to the May 4th, 2020 meeting.
Is that number 3?
Number 3 as well, yes, sir.
Tabled, right?
So item 1, 2, and 3 are tabled.
That is correct, sir.
Okay, we'll move on to item 4.
So item number 4 is 20 PZ 0019, River Flying Community Inc. requests an amendment to the existing BDP in a PUD land unit development zoning classification. The property is 13.03 acres located on the south side of Cone Road, approximately 150 feet east of Kemp Street. It's located in District 2.
Okay, the applicant here.
Yes. Do I proceed? This is awkward.
I think it's awkward for all of us.
All right, my name is Kim Rosanka. I'm with the law firm of Cantwell and Goldman. I'm here on behalf of River Flying Condominium, Inc. The applicant's representative is Dr. Wasim Niazi. This came about because Dr. Niazi's individuals who have reserved condominiums want to be able to do short-term rentals, which, as you all are very familiar with, has been quite popular in the last number of years. It's not changing ownership, it's just changing use. I had presented, given you several documents in advance. One is the ordinance 62-1841.55 dealing with resort dwellings. This is a resort dwelling use, but it's permitted with conditions. So just to make it clear that this was going to be a potential for those owners, we have changed the binding development plan to make sure that everyone is aware that this is possible and that it has to comply with this code. You may or may not be aware this was approved for PUD in 2006. The site plan has been approved. The amenities building has been approved. I provided a copy of a picture from last June that it is completely done, the amenities building. The building permit is underway and the condominium is to be constructed, starting construction soon, hopefully this month or next month. Regarding the actual amendment to the BDP, they're nominal. There are some whereas clauses to show that this is a change to the First Amendment. to explain that it's a resort dwellings is permitted use with conditions under that cited LDR. And then on page 4, there are a few changes, just again, so that people know what the requirements are. This basically 2DV and 6 are basically just information that's contained in 62-184155. And Dr. Niazi could not be here. He is a medical doctor, and he was not comfortable not knowing what the circumstances would be or how this was going to work. So if you have any questions, I can answer that. If not, I'd ask for an approval for a recommendation of the revised PDP.
Okay, hearing that, I'll bring it back to the board. Do we have any questions for her?
I hit the mic button first.
No,
Yes,
you're on.
I'm on. Is the management team put together yet for putting this whole thing together? Was it built?
I missed some of those words in your question. There will be a management team on site for these condominiums that are rented.
Any other questions, Mr. Joe?
That was the question. Thank you.
Yeah, I have one, Kim. Just looking at the BDP and it talks about, when it says no more than 6 occupants per unit, and then it says farther down that it cannot exceed the number of rooms in the dwelling unit. So what does that mean? And will the two conflict with each other?
Okay, give me a page.
Page 4. So number D5 says that no more than 6 occupants can be in the unit that's rented. And then number 6 below that, it says only 1 person per room.
I think that means there can be no more than 6, but there may be only less. This language is taken right out of the ordinance. So I think that's what that means, is that it would be no more than 6, but if there's less rooms, then they can have to have less than 6 for the ordinance.
What's considered a room? Just a bedroom, or is it a living room is considered a room?
Unfortunately, that's not clear in the ordinance. The ordinance is 62-1841-552B. Number of persons occupying the resort dwelling at any point shall not exceed the number of rooms in the residence as established by the floor plan.
Okay, so this is just duplicative language that's going to be in the BDP as well as in the ordinance?
Yes.
Okay.
And there is no plan to change parking either. I know that was a comment in the staff report, but they're not making less parking. It's an approved site plan. So they're not changing.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Any other questions for her, board?
Hey,
Is
Mark.
this change,
Mark,
is this change intended to increase the short-term rental instead of long-term rental?
It's just providing that the occupants will comply with the zoning code because it is a permitted use with conditions. So it's not changing it. There will be people that live there full time. There will be people that rent it out occasionally, and there may be people that rent it out all the time. But it's a use. It's still a residential use. It's just a short term versus long term, I suspect, is what you're asking. But it won't be all of them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What?
Hey, Mark, I had a question.
Yes, sir.
This hasn't been heard by Mira, correct?
B and Z.
That is correct.
Okay.
It was, this,
We want to have their input before we make a decision,
Okay.
a recommendation.
You too. Bye-bye.
Well, that is unusual that they don't hear it before we do.
I canceled our meeting that was scheduled last month.
Is there any reason why, is there a time issue that it needs to be heard here before it goes to Myra?
We have to still do a minor amendment to the PUD. So yes, Dr. Niazi would like it to move forward. Myra canceled their meeting that was set for the last week of March. I don't know that they've rescheduled any of their meetings.
Mr. Chairman, if I may. So I talked to Cindy this morning. So the next Myra board meeting will be April 30th, if the board chooses to table this item for the Myra recommendation.
Kim, would that hold up building permits for you?
I don't believe so.
I don't really have a problem. I mean, we're going to make recommendations just like Myra's going to make recommendations to the board. And unless there's some, I guess I'd probably want to hear if there's any other people from the audience, if there's any objections to this. Is there anybody?
Ms. Kim, we're going to have to go out to the audience then.
I was informed that we have no public comment for this item.
There's nobody here. There's nobody here.
Yeah, there's nobody for the public comment, but I also understand that we're picking up a little bit of feedback through the mics and the speakers. So if you are not talking, I would ask that we, if you can hear the mics, it may be helpful.
Okay.
Read that feedback.
I don't know about you, I'm having a really hard time hearing Tad.
I couldn't hear him at all.
All right, so let me see if I can increase.
He's saying mute your microphone on the Zoom app if you're not the person talking.
Like that?
Guys, hear me better now. We do not have any public to speak to this item.
Say that again, please.
There's no public comment for this item.
Okay, Mr. Moore, you got a recommendation?
Oh, yeah, hearing that, then I'll make a recommendation that we approve the request as presented.
I second the motion.
We got a motion from Mr. Moyer, a second by Joe. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passed unanimously. Okay, thank you. Next item, please, sir.
I'm going to read items number 5 and 6 because they're companion application. One is a small scale and the last one is a zoning change. So item number 5 is 20 PZ 00020. Troy Yates requests a small scale comprehensive plan amendment to change the future land use designation from Res 4 to community commercial. The property is 0.44 acres located on the east side of Grissom Parkway, approximately 0.23 miles south of Canava Groves Boulevard. It's located in District 1. Item number 6 is 20 PZ 00021. Troy Yates requests a change of zoning classification from GU general use to BU1 general retail commercial. The property is 0.44 acres located on the east side of Grissom Parkway, approximately 0.23 miles south of Canava Grove Boulevard. This application is also located in District 1. Thank you.
Okay, is the applicant present?
Yeah, but just to bring that with me. Okay. So this is set up there. Okay. Perfect.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hello,
How are you?
Bill Yates.
All right, Mr. Troy, can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Troy Yates, 4020 Royal Palm, Cocoa, Florida.
Okay, what are we looking to do here, Mr. Troy?
Small scale amendment from residential 4 to community commercial to BU1.
Okay. Does the board have any questions for Troy?
Mark, I have a question.
Yes, sir, Mr. Ron.
What's the planned use for this property?
I'm doing lawnmower repair and sales.
Oh, okay.
We're putting basically a metal building and be like a John Deere dealer.
Okay. Thank you.
Does the board have any other questions?
Mark, if I may, it's Pete.
Yes, sir, Mr. Pete.
All right. I was wondering if the applicant's willing to put a landscape barrier since it's surrounded by residential, I believe.
Yes, I'm going to leave most of all the vegetation there because it's
Okay.
just basically what we do is, well, lawns, mowing grass and, landscape and things like that. So we try to leave as much there as possible.
Understood. Thank you.
Currently just right next door to Jabbers and another commercial place, a construction company. And up a little bit from me is a BP gas station. And there's some kind of other hair cuttery or some kind of place around the corner from me as well. There's a
Thank you, sir.
Harold Landscaping or Excavating. And then there's the Jabbers Restaurant. And I'm just a little south of Jabbers.
Got it. Thank you. I was actually looking at the wrong map. I see it. You're basically surrounded by woods. I thought it was a residential area. My apologies on that. But thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot of woods.
Mr. Ted, do you know if we have any public comment on this one?
No, sir, there is no public comment.
Okay, hearing that, I'll bring it back to the board again.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, I just had one, correction, On the staff comments for the land use, it says requested zoning BU2. I just want to make sure it's we're asking for BU1.
Yeah, BU1A.
And we're only doing the land use first and the zoning second, right?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to point that out.
I think one of the papers had a mistake on there at BU2, but it was actually supposed to be BU1.
Yeah, that would be
Like
the
either one.
difference between the two. So I see that the request is BU1, but I just want to make sure we're clear on that. So unless anybody else had any yeah, if you look at the other one for the land use, that's different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then on the land use, I move that, unless there's any more discussion, I move for approval to change it from res 4 to community commercial as requested.
This is Pete. I'll second that.
Okay, I got a motion for Bruce, a second by Pete. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passed unanimously.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Being that was approved, unanimously, I would make a motion that we approve the zoning request from GU to BD1.
And I will second that as well for item number 6.
All right, hold on one second there. Did you see where the zoning was BU2 and he's requesting the BU1?
BU1. We're at moving approval for BU1.
Correct. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I didn't say that motion was from Bruce. It was a second by Pete. Any of those opposed? That motion passed unanimously. Okay, Mr. Troy, you're done.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Yeah.
Next item, please.
Item number 7. Code PC 00022, registration and putting up an album, possibly change zone classification from GU and use to AU agricultural residential zone intensity. The property is 1 acre located on the north side of the United Street.
I can't hear it all.
304 feet east of Dakota Avenue. It's located in District 1.
You were muted the whole time.
Let's try this again.
I didn't hear a thing. Was that Hugo Bottom?
Yes, it was Hugubam.
Number 7.
So it's number 7. So this is 20 PZ 00022. Michael Richard and Karina Emma Hugaboom request a zoning classification from GU general use to AUL agricultural residential low intensity. The property is 1 acre in size, located on the north side of Oneida Street, approximately 304 feet east of Dakota Avenue. It's located in District 1.
Is the applicant present? I think she went to go get the applicant. Here she comes.
I know it's awkward. Right here, and you see right up to the. Okay. And you just have a seat.
All right.
Okay, if you would, could you state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Michael Hugaboom, and the address is 3656 Juanita Street.
All right. What are you looking to do here, Mr. Hugaboom?
We're looking to build a guest house, and then in future, we want to also add a accessory building. So we talked with Kyle Harris, and his recommendation was to change the zoning to agricultural so that we could accomplish this task.
All right. Hearing that, I bring it to the board for any conversation. Yes, sir.
Kind of difficult. Can you hear me anyway?
Yes.
It says I'm muted, but anyway.
No, you're good.
Okay, this is pretty typical of a lot that we've seen where in order to build a single family lot, the zone needs to be changed because you can't build a single family lot on the zoning that exists on the property. And it's pretty consistent with things that have happened in this area on a lot of applications we've gotten recently. So I don't see anything unusual about it. I don't think we've ever denied anybody getting a single family residence on a lot. So I move that we approve the request from GU to AU.
I second that motion.
All right, we got a motion to approve by Mr. Moyer. Got a second by Joe. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion passed unanimously. Good luck, Mr. and Mrs. Hugaboom.
Thank you. Y'all have a good day.
All right, y'all too. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Okay, next item, please, sir.
Okay, item number 8 is 20 PZ 00026. Brevard County requests the following. Number 1, to change the zoning classification from GML, government managed lands, to GMLH, government lands, managed lands, high intensity. Number 2, a conditional use permit for a solid waste management facility. Number 3, removal of an existing BDP binding development plan. Number 4, waiver of the 400-foot setback. Number 5, request to limit the building height to 55 feet. The property is 17.5 acres located on the west side of South Street, due west of South Park Avenue. The property is located in District 1.
Okay, is the applicant present? Do we have anyone there that's going to represent this for the county? Mr. Tad?
Yes, sir, we do. We're waiting for them to come into the room.
Okay.
Yes, right. I know. It was worse.
I understand. Hello.
Hello, how are you this afternoon?
Doing fantastic. How about yourself?
All right, sir. Could you state your name and address to this for the record?
I'm Mulligan, Rockledge, Florida, Brevard County Solid Waste Assistant Director.
Rich Kohler with Jones Evans and Associates, working for Brevard County. I reside at 5640 Bob White Trail, Mims, Florida.
All right, and a brief description of what you're looking to do.
Yeah, so, excuse me, sorry about that. Bear with me for just a second.
A brief description is that we're looking to replace the existing Titusville transfer station with a new transfer station that would be located on the northern parcel of the Mockingbird Way mulching facility.
Okay. Here and now, bring it to the board. Board, do you have any questions for them?
Mark, I have a question.
Yes, sir, Mr. Rod.
Why is the transfer station being moved? Is there something wrong with the current one?
Yes, the current transfer station was built in 1976. It uses hydraulic ram and compression technology that now is over 40 years old. The parts are no longer made. It's in constant maintenance, and our maintenance crew actually has to fabricate the parts by hand. What this will do is it will actually give us a new transfer station that gives more of a pit technology like the one in Melbourne at the Sarno Road transfer station. Gives it a little more space, and we'll take this transfer station and serve the north service area into hopefully the next 40, 50 years.
Will it use the same hydraulic compression?
No, it will not. This will use pits that just drop the garbage into the tops of the silver transfer trucks, and then it just gets compacted by a regular excavator with a compactor on it. So there's a lot less mechanical parts, and we're doing this on a separate parcel because it would be hard for us to do the construction of the new one and keep the old one running. And this also consolidates all the space onto one parcel, one site where we can have a scale house and we have our flow control, and it'll be a lot smoother operation.
So it would not be possible to put this facility in where the current one is that correct?
That is correct. We wouldn't be able to put it where the other one is due to both space and for keeping the existing transfer station working while we're constructing the new one.
Okay. Yeah, I just had a little concern about the traffic on State Road 405. I drive that regularly, and sometimes the traffic backs up from Park Avenue all the way to Fox Lake Road. That's like 3/4 of a mile. So this is going to add to that traffic at that intersection. I mean, I understand there's not really much we can do about it. I'm just expressing a concern, and I don't see that as a reason for denying it. But I don't, if there's something you could do, that would be great, but I'm not sure what you could do.
Well, there's two things. One is at that intersection, as opposed to the existing transfer station, there is a left turn lane into the Mockingbird Way facility, which will take some traffic off the main traffic road itself, as opposed to if you were coming from the south, trying to turn into the existing transfer station, anything waiting to get in would be blocking the main traffic. Also, the way the design is that we have the scale house farther inside, so there's a lot of queuing space for other trucks on the property and off the road itself. So
well, that's a good idea.
So we're taking the same amount of traffic that would have been at the old facility, we're bringing all that to the new facility, so there's not a net increase or decrease, but at that intersection, we are actually going to have more cars being able to be off the road and let normal traffic go through, as opposed to with the existing transfer station at the moment.
Is there any possibility that the right turn lane on the north end of of the street can be made a little larger so you can accommodate? Well, no, actually, I guess it's not necessary, is it? You're going to accommodate the increased traffic in your facility, so they'll be off the road.
Yes, and traffic coming from the north, the right turn lane is what, 200 feet? It's
in that range.
It's about 250, I think 250 feet. So even things coming from there will be able to get off of the main traffic, which again, we didn't have as much space at the existing transfer station.
Okay. And I have one other question related to the BDPs. There was, in the old BDP, there was an area designated as an area which could be used by local organizations for public garden demonstrations. Was that ever put in place, ever used?
I think at one point it was used, but long ago that was discontinued as the organization that was using it, ceased to exist.
No longer exists, correct.
Okay. I just didn't recall seeing anything like that when I've used that facility, and just wondered what it was all about.
Actually, the only thing that is left is basically a timer for an irrigation system that would have been used for the garden. But the garden club itself has not been on that site for 11 years or more at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ron. Anyone else on the board have any questions for them? No. Do we know if we have any public comment pertaining to this?
No, sir. We have no public comment. No public comment, sir.
I vote we accept this as it is.
Okay, Mr. Joe made a motion as stated. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Who seconded?
Ron.
Okay, a motion by Joe, a second by Mr. Barger. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion passed unanimously. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, have a good day. Okay, next item, please, sir.
Hi, this is Virginia Barker. Can you hear me?
Yes, Virginia, we've got you.
Okay, super. So good afternoon. We're looking for a recommendation on extension of the county's current temporary biosolids moratorium for another 180 days. On March 24th, the County Commission considered results from data that we've collected since the moratorium was adopted and provided legislative intent to extend the current moratorium. As you recall, about 6 months ago, the board adopted this original moratorium and asked staff to coordinate with other agencies and collect data. We collaborated with the University of Florida, the U.S. Department of Ag and Natural Resources Conservation Service, Brevard Soil and Water Conservation District, DEP, and the Water Management District, collecting soil samples and water samples and grass tissues on Deer Park Ranch with the cooperation of Billy Kempfer. And based on the results of that study, there were no man-made manufactured chemicals coming off the farm, but there were high levels of phosphorus leaving the site during or following rainfall. So based on that, the board approved legislative intent to move forward with extending the moratorium, and pending your recommendation this afternoon, it will go to the County Commission for a final public hearing tomorrow.
Okay, hearing that, I bring it back to the board. Does anybody have any questions for Ms.
Is
Virginia?
magnesium a nutrient?
Yes, phosphorus, water extractable phosphorus coming off the farm over the weir into waters that drain into the St. Johns River. So last summer, there was a blue-green algae bloom in Lake Washington, where our the drinking water supply for a lot of Brevard residents comes from. Those algae blooms, harmful algae blooms, are fueled by excess phosphorus, especially when the phosphorus to nitrogen ratio gets out of whack. And so biosolids has a higher phosphorus ratio than what you normally see in Florida waters or what would normally be applied with fertilizer. And that contributes to these harmful algal blooms outcompeting regular phytoplankton.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, sir, Pete.
All right, for Virginia, just to do due diligence, excuse me here. The moratorium to be extended for 180 days. Can you provide a brief reason for the extension?
Well, last summer when this was initially adopted for 180 days, the state had already acknowledged that biosolid application was probably an issue, and they were working on changing state rules. There was a technical advisory group pulled together. That committee made their recommendations. And then the legislature in this most recent session made some additional language changes. They adopted a bill that had language that was slightly different than what the state had proposed for their state rule changes. So what we really need are statewide changes, but those changes have not yet been adopted. So the state agencies are trying to rework their language to incorporate what was in Senate Bill 712. And at some point, we will hopefully get state rules that address this issue. But in the meantime, a local moratorium is sort of a stopgap measure.
Understood, thank you. So we're just waiting for a statewide solution then?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much.
Any other questions for Virginia from the board?
Yeah, just to piggyback on what Pete was saying, Virginia. So is the county considering writing their own language in this 180 days if the state doesn't do anything?
Sorry, Bruce, you broke up. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, if the state, say they don't change anything, is the county going to be able to create language within this 180 days to address what they want to address?
The county could adopt language that incorporates the concepts that are in what the state is considering doing statewide. Unfortunately, that would only apply to ag lands in the county. And as you're aware, there are ag lands in our adjacent counties that are also draining into our drinking water supply. And so, without a statewide solution, this is only a partial solution. It doesn't entirely address the problem.
Okay. Are those neighboring counties, are they under moratoriums as well?
The counties south of us are. Osceola has not been, but they are, I heard just a few weeks ago, they were looking at doing something. There is some uncertainty about whether local governments are preempted from adopting something new. Brevard County is grandfathered in because we adopted something last summer. So as long as we don't let this, our current moratorium lapse, we are grandfathered in. If we let this lapse, then, our options may be more limited.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Virginia? Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I think this is very important. Protect our drinking water. So I make a motion that we approve or recommend approve the moratorium as written.
I said that.
Okay, we got a motion by Mr. Moyer. Got a second by Mr. Joe. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion passed unanimously.
Yep.
A wrap.
All right. I've only got one question for Mr. Ron.
Yes.
That's a lot of trophies back there. I didn't know I was around to start.
That's a lifetime of trophies.
There you go. All right. Well, hearing that, I guess this will adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
All right. Hey, thank you to everyone out there. I know this was an inconvenience, but we actually got through this.
Yep.
The opinions expressed by any member of the public during any period of public comment do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Board of County Commissioners of Brevard County, Florida, Space Coast Government Television, or the program sponsor, and are solely those of the presenter. The Board of County Commissioners of Brevard County, Florida, Space Coast Government Television, and the program sponsor hereby expressly disclaim any and all responsibility or liability for any defamatory or slanderous statements expressed by any member of the public during any such period.